Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a good start to the morning. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds so everyone can start tuning on in. Give me 1 second. If you guys can see my screen, can you guys let me know? Just letting me know that you guys can hear me and that everything is okay. I'm. What's going on, Christopher? What's up? What's up? Good to go. Cole, Tech, Sean. I appreciate you guys. I simply want to remind you that I am trading off my laptop right now. I am still in LA. I am hot spotting off my phone. I was going to catch an early flight back. I did not want to miss another live trading session, so I decided to push my flight back and trade live with you guys. So, are you streaming on a toaster? No, I do apologize if the quality is not what we're used to. So, low quality, yeah, I can only imagine. So, yeah, as of right now, huge push up on natural gas. I'm just going to kind of work with what I got, if that's okay with you guys, and then kind of go from there, right? So, nice little recovery on forward/CL. So, again, if you guys look back to where it closed at yesterday, right around 54.79, and seeing on where it opened today, huge volatility. One of the first things that I want to point out is that I want to ask you, I don't even want to point it out, do you find there to be a consistent pattern with forward/CL? Is there a clear direction that you guys see of something trending up, something trending down? Is there some form of consistency that you guys see on forward/CL? Is that the ocean I hear? No, those are the fans on my laptop. I do apologize. So thanks for being here. No, I appreciate you guys. So, in my opinion, and again, there's some people that are saying yes, some people that are saying no. In my opinion, there is not. And it's just the way that I see value. There is not a clear direction of something continuously pushing up or something continuously pushing down. It's kind of all over the place. And I think that we can all agree with that form of inconsistency, trying to predict or trying to trade patterns that are inconsistent, the risk is that much greater. So because of that, as of right now, I just would not feel comfortable trading forward/CL because I don't find there to be a consistent pattern. Like, trust me, I want to trade UWT, I want to trade DWT if the pattern is there. But as of right now, based off of how it's trading, it's just so inconsistent in my eyes that, it just isn't making sense. Like, isn't it making lower highs? To an extent, yes, as in, like, but it was selling off and then it pushed up, pulled back, pushed up, and I get that, pushed down, pushed up, but we don't know now that it's at the middle VWAP and now that it's above the SMA line if it's going to continue to rally like you're seeing right now, or if it's actually going to get rejected. So isn't it making lower highs? I don't know. It looks like it can, but it looks like it already tried to recover, and again, the market just opened. So that's another reason on why this thing can continue to uptrend. So because of that, I find there to be some form of inconsistencies, right? And again, I'm not here to tell anyone, like, if you see a pattern here and you can trade it, cool, go for it. But I'm just saying why I do not feel comfortable day trading this. And it's because of that inconsistency. Now it looks like we're pushing up quite a bit right now. It looks like now we just made not higher highs, but based off previous highs, that it's actually beginning to push up and become a little bit more on the overextended side. So we might have a big play here. If it pulls back and corrects itself, right, then that means that DWT has a potential for recovery. But again, is there a consistent enough pattern where the trade is actually worth it? That's for you to decide, right? Let's go ahead and move on over to forward/NG. Yeah, not confirm to the checklist. And at the end of the day, it's, I think with more structure and the more you hold yourself back, the better. Now, can I ask you guys a question? On /NG, is the pattern a little bit more consistent that you think that you can trade off of that? So I saw a lot of people in our chat this morning talking about natural gas. Natural gas was pushing up, it then began to sell off, and then it began to uptrend, right? Show signs of an overall recovery, and then not only that, but then it just continued to rally. Now, what do you guys notice about /NG? If you were to think, to visualize an ideal setup, what would that look like on natural gas? What would that look like? Can I explain to you in my eyes what that would look like? Natural gas pushed up so much that it's so overextended, right? That, yeah, it is making higher highs right now, but that it's so overbought, so overextended that it begins to slow down, it begins to consolidate, and then it begins to sell off, and then correct itself, and then get rejected. It's almost doing the exact opposite of what it did here, doing the exact opposite and coming back down here, right? Pull back, and just the overall sell off and reversal of natural gas. And why would I want that? Well, if natural gas begins to sell off, it built a pretty decent margin for recovery on degas. So that would be ideal, but again, there is absolutely no confirmation right now. So, correct, 100% Alex. So bearish divergence with RSI. There's non-stop. So I think this is a perfect example, and Alex, agree with me if you do, how a indicator such as the MACD and an indicator such as the RSI, when the fundamentals take over and when there's a reason that is caused that drove the price up, when the fundamentals take over, the technicals and these different indicators do not become as relevant, or the weight on those indicators are much less, because it's aggressively showing signs of an ascending uptrend pattern. And that's why we always say that indicators are to be used as a reference, never to be used 100% to solely take a position. And I think that we can all agree on that at least with the MACD and the RSI as of right now and where it's at, would be something that would be pretty important to at least understand. So huge push up. Look at this. Exactly. It all matters on technical weight versus indicator weight. Yep. What do you guys think about /CL now on how overextended it is? Any thoughts? Or look at the MACD, look at the RSI. It's almost like /NQ, I mean NG, but it just moved a little bit quicker, huh? And just so you guys can see, I have not taken one position. I wanted you guys all to see that I have not taken one position. It is 6:40, right, a.m. So what I'm going to do is, because of the inverse, right, ETF for DWT, and again, there's absolutely no confirmation. So what I'm going to do here is, I need to be able to see this a little bit more. All right. So I just got filled with a 20% position size. 20% position size on on DWT. Why? /CL, and how overbought I see it to be, right? It can 100% still continue to rally and uptrend, right? But because it's so overbought and so overextended, I just wanted to get some skin in the game, and if and only if I get confirmation of this thing to begin to sell off, right, then that is when I'll add more to my position size. And there it goes, continuing to uptrend. There we go. So you guys can see that it's moving around, and even with it moving around, because my position size is so small, I have a lot of like cushion. Do you get what I'm saying? Without having to worry. Like if I was in with $100,000 and it moved down 3% or 3 cents, that'd be pretty huge, right? The difference in price. But because I'm in with such a small dollar amount, you know, I can let it kind of do its thing without being so worried, right, about my overall position size. So again, I just wanted to get some skin in the game. I see crude oil to be a little bit more on the overbought side, and there it goes. It's beginning to indicate signs of a potential pullback, right? But confirmation is key. I got in. Why is the connection so blurry? Aaron, I don't know if you tuned in a little bit late. I'm still in LA, and I'm hotspotting off my phone on the laptop. I pushed my flight back just so I could go live, and then I'm going to be flying back to Arizona. I just didn't want to miss another live stream. I do apologize. I'm sure the quality is like 480p, if that. But I'd rather go live with you guys than not. I hate it's. I literally felt like incomplete not going live with you guys. It's just, again, creature habit, right? If you don't do what you do every single day, um, you end up feeling like, you left something out. So there we go. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for putting up with me. Here we go. Can I ask you guys a question? Does it make sense to you, right? Do you understand why I'm watching this? First of all, if you're not under the PDT rule, right? I mean, if you are under the PDT rule, you should not be in a position right now on DWT, even before the confirmation. Like, confirmation is key. And I took the risk of getting in, right, with 20%, which is there's still a risk with that. But I took the risk of getting in with 20% before the confirmation. Do you agree that if you are under the PDT rule, meaning that you can only day trade 3 times, that it is probably in your best interest to actually wait for confirmation? Do you understand what we're waiting for? Do you understand why I see value in watching /CL right now? Here it goes, still pushing up. I like that. That's good. 100%. So even if I was under the PD2, yeah, I'm saying like if you are under the PDT rule, you should be even more selective with your entry. But I think you're trying to say that even if you weren't, right, you still wouldn't get in. And I think that's great. 100%. Huge push up. And this is where I'm going to have to, and again, even with a 20% position size, look at that. Huge drop. But again, like the potential for recovery on this one. So I'm going to have to, if it continues to sell off, so I'm going to get rid of it here, but I'm going to give this thing more time, and we just built ourselves a huge margin. Again, the more patient that you are for your entry, potentially the better, right? I don't see any news just yet, but now wow. Absolutely crazy. Just made $706 on that push. Sorry for those in DWT. No, it's, again, you play the side that you see the most value in, and it's just absolutely crazy to see this push on /CL. Look at that. Absolutely crazy. Here we go. Alrighty. So again, I'm going to try to give it some time. This almost looks like a report came out, right? And there it goes. It looks like it still might continue to rally. There it goes. It's a tough one. Not stopping by any means. Wow. Okay, so this one, definitely, give me one quick second. Let's see. Trying to see where to get back in. Trying to give this time. Oh yeah, there's definitely some form of news that's driven the price up. Um, but I'm trying to see when to add more or add to my position size. So let me, or definitely not on DWT. Here we go. And there it goes, pulling back again. There's a slight pullback, but still not making lower lows, right? All right, all right. Appreciate that, Amir. Thank you for letting us know. I want to see how this affected everything. If it did, nope. Natural gas beginning to show signs of a potential reversal. Let's see. Huge push up on NQ. Probably huge push down on /GC. Yep, there we go. So it looks like we're getting people that are saying that it's lagging a lot. Again, I do apologize for that. There's just not really much that I'd be able to do with the lag since I am hot spotting, right? Would you guys prefer me just close out the live stream and post updates in the trade ideas for the Discord chat? Okay. Yeah, one of the things that I want to remind you guys is, again, due to this news, if you find it to be somewhat concerning or the volatility is moving too quickly for you and you just do not feel comfortable trading it, one of the things that I want to remind you is simply don't, right? There's no reason that you should feel forced at all in any way to trade any of this. So especially if, the inconsistency is there in your eyes, keep it simple and, we'll leave it at that. So there we go. Let's check this out. So one of the things that I'm trying to see right now, it looks like it is showing signs somewhat of a peak formation, right? I think that we can all kind of see that. It's not making lower lows in any way. So one of the other things that I want to point out is that right now we're not getting confirmations of lower lows. We're like maybe pulling back a little bit, but then it just continues to consolidate. So yeah, as of right now, I wouldn't feel so forced or willing to add to my position or anything like that, especially with this inconsistency aspect. There we go. Pretty crazy push. I think that we can all agree on that, right? Can you explain why you didn't wait for DWT to make higher highs before you buy? I did explain. I explained on why I went in with a 20% position size. There it goes. So very similar pattern, if not almost exact, following with /NQ, right? I think that we could all kind of see that, and then /CL following as well. Holy JNUG, yeah, JNUG, I could only imagine how much it's sold off, right? Huge sell-off. So I'm trying to see if any of the news pops up on TD Ameritrade due to what is being talked about and shared. But nope, nothing updated just yet. It's 6:57 my time, right? Pacific Standard Time. And the latest update is 6:03. So it's kind of unfortunate. There we go. We're beginning to show signs of a little bit of a pullback, right? Still not a sell-off, but a pullback as of right now. And here we go. You can see that it's beginning to pull back a little bit more aggressively. Oh, okay, so there is news on /NQ. I appreciate you for letting me know. Here we go. So Okay. Forward slash NQ is beginning to pull back once again. There we go. One of the things that I'm seeing right now is that it's almost trying to build a support at this EMA line. So again, it's never exact, especially with the volatility that we're experiencing right now. But if we do begin to make almost higher highs, then it's definitely going to be something that I want to watch carefully, right? We missed the natural gas reversal. Dang. I'm surprised that natural gas wasn't influenced by this at all. Okay. I'm going to have to check it out real quick. Alrighty. So I rode DGAS all the way up and rode DWT all the way down. Okay, we'll check that out. So forward slash NG. There we go. It looks like it did pull back, right? But it's still finding a support around this general area. So ultimately, it's still not selling off. We might get a rejection here, but just a little heads up on that it doesn't have to continue to sell off. So if the direction does follow, then I think that'd be pretty great, but it just doesn't have to. So here we go. The volume is starting to kind of like balance out, right? So based off of how the volume was before and after the news came out, you could see that there was definitely a lot more demand, right? Or overall just volume itself. So Ricky, check out Gush. Yeah, I can imagine Gush is probably, yeah, very similar movement forward slash, right, CL and stuff like that. So, so then drip should show the exact opposite. A lot of consolidation going on right now. So definitely makes sense. I like that. Here we go, beginning to slowly pull back a little bit. Depends, John. It's all different for everyone. So I would just reach out to TD Ameritrade. I think you have to sign out of your TD Ameritrade account and then sign back in for the TOS. And then you should have like instant, right, real-time quotes if you were subscribed to them. All right. Here we go. It looks like it's right around that EMA line. So just a little heads up, guys. This could be where either it finds a support or where we can actually begin to see a sell-off. So, of course, appreciate you tuning in. Sweet. Okay, so to click the support tab on the top right and then speak to an agent. Forward slash NQ is doing the same thing. Yeah, I believe the news is based off of forward slash NQ, based off of the feedback that we're getting back right now. Possible MACD divergence going on right now. Let's see. And let's see. Ooh, let's see. Can we sell off? Can we sell off? Here we go. Watch this. Watch. Let's see. Nope, doesn't look like it's going to. Looks like it's definitely trying to. EMA line acting as a potential support. Here we go. We can see it dropping a little bit. So again, 56. This is pretty much what I'm watching right now. Here we go. It just dropped below 56.20 and then it's picking back up again. There it goes. There we go. 56.21, 56.22, 56.19. So we're dropping on crude oil as of right now, 56.18. Again, quite a bit of margin for potential recovery, or for it to cover. Here we go. We're at 56.17, 56.15, pulling back. Back at 56.20. So again, it might be finding or trying to find a support around the general EMA area. Let's see. There we go. And lower lows once again. As you guys can see here, we're at 56.09. There we go. DWT just broke above 650. So again, the more that forward slash CL sells off, the more that DWT pushes up. Yep, so if you guys are up right now in your position, don't be afraid to take profits, right? So we're at 56.08, 56.09. See what we got going on here. It's just beginning to correct itself. Potential support right here, right around that 56 general area. Let's see if we could find the support here. Or see. Here we go, 56.05. There we go. Again, kind of consolidating around this general area. So alright. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time. It looks like it's beginning to pick back up. So let's see what happens here. Oh, it looks like it's actually still getting rejected. Do you guys see this? Looks like it did push above the EMA line and then ultimately still got rejected. So I just want to give this a little bit more time. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. I think that we can agree that it wouldn't be of huge surprise, right? If it does break above and continue to make higher highs, not higher highs, but to reverse back up maybe around this general area. So I want to give this a little bit more time, and I still feel like there's a huge play here, but we either have to wait for confirmation and I just got caught right as something was pushing up, especially when news came out, right? So when fundamentals took over and the news pushed up, it just quickly cleared, that 1% mark. So made $1,000 and $1,006 on the day so far. Congrats, Scott. Super happy to hear that. But here we go. We're beginning to reverse back up. The MACD is beginning to follow. So is the RSI. So I'm just gonna set my alerts and then kind of go based off of that, right? And I'm going to set my alert here. If we end up making lower lows, let's check this out. /NQ. I want to see how this is doing. Again, a lot of margin for potential. It's just, being able to see a big play like this, like at the end of the day, like nothing has to happen. And I think we can all agree to that. Like it doesn't have to sell off. It just makes sense on why it could, right? So because of that, I think it's very important just to keep an eye when there's such big plays, like, in effect, and giving something a little bit more time. So /NQ, again, still super overbought. Here we go, /CL. Looks like we might be getting rejected once again. At least that's what it looks like on /NQ. So got in for a swing trade on UWT and just locked in 8% profit. Holy smokes. Congrats. I like that. Well, again, if you got in and there's a huge play like this, just please do not expect there to always be huge recoveries, right? How much is UWT up right now? That was a solid play. Yeah, about 8%. Wow. So definitely has margin to give back, right? And looking at previous patterns, yeah, definitely on the overextended side. Overall, it looks like it has been ascending, so something to keep in mind, right? Where its overall direction is almost beginning to change. And I think that's super important to keep in mind. So I've been struggling the past 3 days. Yesterday was a very small loss, or small loss, not very small loss, but on Friday was a very small loss. And today, guys, I'm not off to the best start. So it was a total of 5 orders. I went in a little bit too aggressively, not on my first position. I feel like I did a great job on my first position. It just didn't go according to plan, and I managed my risk. That's fine. I accept that. But my second trade, it just continued to push up at a much quicker rate that I didn't expect. Didn't cut losses quick enough, paid the price. One of the things that I want to remind you is that, again, I see there's still to be a lot of margin for potential sell-off, and if I do the math where, I look at DWT, so some of you guys might be like, well, Ricky, I think that maybe you should be done trading for the day because you hit your max loss. Like 2% is not something I ever want to experience. But what I want to ignore the dollar amount, right? And think about just the potential for recovery, right? I'm not even saying for it to go back up to where it was, right? That 9% margin. I'm literally saying if I wait for this thing to break above the middle VWAP, and if I wait for this thing to rally after, before it had its big drop, right? With this margin alone, this margin is 4%, right? 4%, as you guys could see there. I find that to be attractive enough that, okay, right? And it doesn't even take away from if I see that UWT is uptrending and I want to partake in that, and I see a 1% margin, then great, I can do it. Or if I give it more time to become overbought, overextended, and then I buy the dip on DWT again, then great, I can do it. But at the end of the day, I did do a poor job. I didn't do my best job managing my risk, right? This movement was very quick, and I just that 1% really hit me quickly. So, and you guys know that I'm a huge supporter in trying to keep the losses small. So just definitely have paid the price today. So what would you say would be the move right now that just got down 2%? So Kevin, being even that much more selective for an opportunity to present itself. So instead of me trying to now, because now I understand like the movement of like UWT and stuff like that. So and because now the news is slowly dying out, what I have to do is just simply, so I don't expect this thing to actually make higher highs. It just wouldn't make much sense, but it's gonna, in my eyes, based off previous patterns of how I've traded similar to this, that this is when it reached its peak, right? It sold off and it began to try to recover. And now it's showing signs of a potential resistance. That instead of trying to find a peak, that I actually wait for confirmation and then just ride either these. If I find it to be attractive enough, ride the recovery and make sure that I'm patient enough to wait for confirmation. That's my biggest thing. So I'm going to set my alert here and then just simply remind myself when I see something to be overbought. I think that's great, but at the end of the day, I won't go in until I get that confirmation, which at the end of the day is probably something that everyone should be doing, waiting for confirmation, especially just because we think something's overbought doesn't mean that it's bound to pull back. But I didn't expect, obviously, this news to come out that changed its overall, and I think I got in like, where was it? DWT. I think I got in like around this general area, right? But it still just continued to sell off. So there's nothing that I could have done there. It's just, it completely changed its direction due to the news, and I could have done a better job managing my risk. So yeah, there's nothing else that I can say on that. It's just that I could have done a better job managing my risk. The direction changed quickly, and yeah, so waiting for an opportunity to present itself. I'm not jumping in on anything yet. Chris, I think that's best, right? Like, Chris, one of the things that I would like to remind you is like, what is your weekly goal? Not even your daily goal, but your weekly goal. And does the recovery on or does the recovery on DWT potentially offer that, right? Like if your goal is 2, 3, 5%, like it potentially offers that. And not even just that, like let's say you hate DWT because it's a descending pattern right now. Even with UWT, let's say this thing continues to rally and actually make higher highs. Then does this contest to that? So eyeing that like a hawk. Yeah, it's, again, don't just be so like selective on maybe just one of the tickers or one of the ETFs, but be empowered to kind of go with the flow. Like, make sure that you do your part in getting in for a good deal and that the direction is in your favor. That would be my focus. And of course, making sure that the opportunity is 100% worth it. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be waiting for, and we can kind of go from there. So I'm going to be posting updates. I'm going to be getting ready for my flight right now, team. I'm actually in like my the house that I grew up in, so I came to visit my parents. I'm going to have breakfast with them, and then I'm going to be flying back from LAX to Arizona. So /sale falls before reaching previous highs. Is that a good sign? We don't have that confirmation just yet. So made 1% on the day. I'm so happy that so many of you guys did so well in waiting, right? I think that's super amazing. That I tried to remind you very quickly to be even more patient than me. And again, just because I put myself in a position doesn't mean that you should as well, right? Because the risk and our risk managements are just completely different. So, okay, I like it. Let's allow that opportunity to present itself. Let's wait for confirmation, and let's be patient. So appreciate you guys' time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.